All right, everybody, how y'all doing? So, as you can see, I'm doing something different. I'm trying the commentary style video where I just record audio and slap it over gameplay footage. This is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. As a matter of fact, it's something I wanted to do at the beginning of my channel, just never did for whatever reason. And I also wanted to do this between the last video I posted last year and the first video I posted this year because I was just having such difficulty, making videos. I had such technical difficulties that I started looking towards this option, and for some reason, I never did that either. But I'm having technical issues this week as well. I was supposed to have this video out earlier. I told Chosen I was gonna have it out like as soon as I got home, and well, I passed out when I got home, and then like the next few days, I just had issues with recording. So now I'm doing this because like I have years and years of gameplay videos on my PC, and they're not being used for anything. So this would be a perfect chance to use that, right? Of course. So anyway, this is just me getting like a few frustrations off my chest, just talking about just what's going on in my life right now. So for the first time in my life, I felt entitled to something, and this is something that's kind of big for me because as a kid, while growing up, I had absolutely no confidence in myself. Like it lasted for a long time up until like I was like maybe 25 years old. Even though as a kid, like I was a great student, and as an adult, I was a great employee. Like I've always been good. It's just that I never saw it growing up. I never really understood that. My uncle used to call me a straight A student, even though I never made straight A's. But it was because I was so good at my work that oftentimes I was able to get it done at school, but whenever it came to doing it at home, I just wouldn't do it. And as an employee, like all of my managers have requested that I be assistant manager. Like they've come to me about going for assistant management position, and I've just never wanted to do it because like I always felt like I couldn't do it. I even had one manager call me the golden child because I was just such a hard worker. But whenever they asked me to be assistant manager, I shied away from it. So I've been working on my confidence for the past few years. This is all going to be important, by the way. Like this all pertains to like the whole entitlement thing. I started working on my confidence for the past few years, and eventually I started going for the assistant management position at the job I'm at now, right? And all of my managers, all my assistant managers, they all helped me out. They all gave me as much information as possible. They really drilled into me all of the information that I needed to, to succeed. But also, they helped me with my confidence. Like any other time, like in my past, like this wouldn't have worked. But they made sure I understood, and this is something that one of them always said, that I didn't understand how much of a badass I was. So this is like I said, this is like the perfect time for me to hear that because I'm actually working on my image of myself, and it really speaks to me. Like they put me in positions to where I would actually be able to show off how good I am. They would allow me to actually run the shift as a manager would, and I did great. So my manager was really proud of how he would build what he called top tier assistant managers, which basically means that as soon as whoever he's training becomes assistant manager, they're already primed and ready to be a manager, right? Like off the bat, as soon as they get that position, they're ready to be manager. So and I was one of those people. So at the new facility, right, like after a while, I start going for assistant management position here, and I get it. But a lot of it's the seasonal position. It's temporary. The idea is that I prove myself within the holiday season, and then after that, my work is evaluated, and then they go from there whether or not they want to keep me on as an assistant manager, officially, or send me back, to being a regular associate. So yeah, like that all happened. I became an assistant manager, and I busted my ass even as a seasonal. You know what I mean? Like, and it was just like to the point where near the end of the year, near the end of the holiday season, when I would go around and let everybody know, I'm like, yo, look, it's about time for me to go. It's almost by this time next year, or not by this time next year, by next year, by the time we come back from, the days off that we have, for the holidays, I'm probably going to be in another department. So I just wanted to come around and let you guys know, like, I really appreciate you guys, helping me, all that you've taught me, being patient, all that other stuff. I really appreciate all the hard work that you guys put in. But, it's time for me to go. I'm probably going to be gone, next year. And everybody was really sad. Like, a lot of people didn't even know that I was assistant manager, because like I did my job so well that they were like, you're it for us. I even had one associate tell me that I was the best assistant manager that they've had in a long time, which really spoke to me, because like I worked for that. I busted my ass to get that. But not just that, like throughout the entire time I was working as assistant manager, I would have managers from other departments come to me and introduce themselves to me and just like, let me know how great of a job I'm doing. Like I have such good relationships with a lot of a few of the managers who are still here, because they managers, they move around, they go to different facilities, whatever. I still have good relationships with some of them because of how well I did. But anyway, the next year came and nothing happened. And as a matter of fact, everything about my position was radio silent for half a year, right? From January all the way down to June. Nothing, right? Even July, or even like just last month. Like I haven't heard anything at all for like the entire time, even though I was asking around, especially asked HR multiple times. But for some reason, it's just a well-known fact that HR is just complete shit. So that really fucking sucks. But anyway, all this is to just like really give an idea for how devastating everything that happened after that was. Like, just not hearing anything for half a year, despite how well I did, despite the fact that I busted my ass. All of my associates, they love me. Even the associates upstairs, because like my department split between upstairs and downstairs. Even the associates upstairs, they were asking me to work up there with them, every once in a while. Like, just all of this praise that I'm getting, only to end up like not hearing anything about anything for a whole like half of a year, just like a whole 6 months. It just really started to frustrate me, right? So eventually I asked enough managers that eventually, like, my managers, like the managers that I were talking to, they were just like, what, at this point you should just apply again. Like, you're just gonna have to, like, it's been long enough. Not all of them agree with that. Like one of my older managers, I spoke with him as I was actually having my interview for another assistant management position. And he was like, why are you having an interview for another assistant manager? You're already assistant manager. I'm like, yeah, I know, but this is just the way it goes. Like, I'm seasonal assistant manager. Apparently that's the difference or whatever. And so, which was something that was a huge shock to a lot of people, that they kept coming to me throughout the 6 months asking if I had heard anything yet. Because, the managers, they don't really hear anything. They don't know anything, right? Unless they're my manager. But even my manager wasn't getting anything. So, like, a lot of people were just confused in general as to how I could be assistant manager for such a long time, because it's not supposed to last this long. Maybe a month after the holiday season, maybe 2. Sure shit, not 6. So, like, he's like, yeah, you shouldn't have to do that. Like you should just automatically be, inclined. And he was talking to an HR rep at the time, and she agreed. And I'm just like, yeah, but this is the way it works. So I had the interview. And after that, the same manager, like from my old department, he came up to me and he was like, so how did the interview go? And I'm like, yeah, it went great. It went the same way as the last 11 interviews I had. And by the way, I've had 11 interviews at this point. I passed all of them. The first 10 were mock interviews, which is just pretty much preparation, but they're no different than actual interviews, other than that at the end of it all, if I pass, I don't get a position. But yeah, like that last interview was the 12th interview, and it went the same as any other interview. So I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I got it. So he was like, yo, how long have you been working here? I'm like, I've been working here for 5 years. And he's like, well, you know what? Like, I mean, you've been here for so long, you know so much, and you've been a part of all of these different departments, like in some way. You should just go for a management position. And I'm like, you know what? Like, it's funny that you mentioned that, because like around that time, I was speaking to somebody who was a part of loss prevention, and loss prevention just off the bat is a manager level position. I'm like, yo, I was just talking to this dude, and he was telling me that I don't have to actually be an assistant manager for a year before I can apply to that position, which is typically the requirement from what I was told. He was like, no, with my skills, like I have 3 years experience in the skill that they're looking for. I can just apply. Like, they're looking for me. So he was like, yeah, man, go for it. So I'm like, you know what, I will. Because at this point, I'm like, you know what? Like, it's been 6 months. It's been half a year. I should have heard something by now. If they don't want to give me the assistant manager position, then fuck it. I'll skip it. I'll go to the next level, right? Especially since it's not something that I can't do. Why not? I deserve this. You know what I mean? I busted my ass. At this point, I honestly, it's almost been a year at this point, because like, it's not just 6 months, it's 6 months on top of the 3 months for the holiday season from October to December that I've worked. It's been 9 months, damn near 10. Like, it's almost been a year. At this point, I should be prepping myself to become a management level anyway. Why not, right? So I apply for it. And after I apply for it, I take a week off, because I've just been so stressed out. Everybody's been able to take off except for me, whether they're regular associate or assistant manager. Everybody's been able to take off except for me. And for my assistant managers, the ones that I work with in my department, I've been covering for them whenever they take off. So I've just been working myself, just like I said, busting ass, because that's what the fuck I do. But yeah, so like I just wanted some time off. For some reason, I was on a list that would prevent me from getting voluntary time off. So I had to speak to my boss's boss and be like, yo, like, can you look into this? Because like, it's been such a long time since I've gotten any notification. Meanwhile, all of my associates, as well as my fellow assistant managers, they're all getting the notification. So she looks into it, and oh boy, like I heard the story. She was upset. Like, I sent the message. She was like, yo, why is he not getting the notifications? Why is he being held back from this? And everybody's like, oh, we don't know anything. So she got me removed from that list. So I was able to take that week off. I came back, did my assistant manager my assistant manager thing again. And I did my thing. I killed it like I do. And so the next week, around this time, I'm not assistant manager as often anymore, because the role that I was taking was somebody else's role. They were kind of taking the backseat, because the manager that we had at the time wanted me to have her role for like the holiday season, since it's her role officially. She's gonna have it regardless. But me, I have to prove myself, and I needed that chance. But now the holiday season is over. I've started taking taking a step back, and then she's been taking over. So I'm doing other things more often, as opposed to being assistant manager, even though I'm still getting paid as an assistant manager. So one of my associates, they asked me, they're like, "Are you still getting paid, your assistant manager pay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I am, man. Of course I am. I'm enjoying it." But I'm the type of person who, if I don't have it in front of me, I can't say for certain that it's a thing, especially if it's something that can change, right? And me being a seasonal assistant manager is something that's not supposed to happen. So that could get taken away at any point. So since I'm not entirely certain, even though I'm relatively certain, I check to see if I am still getting that pay, and I find out that the check that's coming up, the check for the week that I worked as an assistant manager, I'm not getting my assistant manager pay anymore. So for that week, I worked as assistant manager, and I'm not getting that assistant manager pay. So I'm like, hold the fuck up, let me figure this out. So I go to HR, and just to make this whole thing short, because I don't want to dwell on this, it's just a whole bunch of repetitive bullshit. HR couldn't help. HR couldn't help. They're for some reason, they're known for being complete shit, despite the fact that the HR at my old building was immaculate. Like, oh my god. They were always, like, people always talking about how good HR was. But anyway, HR here sucks. So fuck it, I didn't get that pay. And I could probably follow up with it, but I just got tired of going to them, so many times. I'm just like, what, fuck it. I'm getting this new job anyway. So I mean, that pay, I would like to have it. It would help, but like, I'm about to be making more money than I ever have, more money than I would be as an assistant manager. So fuck that pay, right? So after a while, I get the notification. I get an email for the interview for the management position. They're like, yo, let us know what time you're available. So I let them know, and they're like, okay, we're gonna hit you up on Tuesday, right? So I'm going into this nervous, right? Because this is a management position, but at the same time, I'm trying to be more confident because not because I'm working on my confidence. Like this at this point, I've gotten my confidence, so I don't really need to work on my confidence too much. But one thing that does seem to happen whenever I have interviews is that I do get nervous before them, and I don't really doubt myself, but I'm always unsure of how it's gonna go. But at this point, like I said, I've had 12 interviews. You know what I mean? Like each and every one of them I've passed. I forgot to mention the interview that I had before I passed that interview. They hit me back and they were like, yeah, you did great. Look, we're looking forward to working with you. You pretty much they're saying that I have the job. It's complicated. Like I don't have the job, but like I can get the job. It's a lot easier. Pretty much I don't have to do any more interviews for a certain period of time. They're considering me. It's just a lot easier to get the job at this point. But anyway, so for the management position, we have the interview, and he, I get on the phone. It's a phone interview. I get on the phone, and he lets me know about himself. He's always been loss prevention. He hasn't really done anything else inside the company. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, me, I've been a part of this company for 5 years. I've been in every single department, in some way, shape, or form. I know everything. I know everything from I know all the entire process of the building, right? Because I've been a part of each and every part of it, even the supporting roles. And it's like, okay, that's great. Like that's like that, and the fact that you have 3 years in this experience right here. This is why we're looking for you. This is why I was excited to have this interview with you, because like you could really let me know what's going on the floor. And I'm like, yeah, man. Like I'm great at gathering information, so I could really let you know what's going on. Like I'm really good at that. He's like, okay, so we have the interview. And everything just seems like it's going well. Typically, whenever they have interviews, they don't really let on like whether or not it's going good or going bad. But like due to his responses, like I just feel like I'm killing it, right? I'm just like, yo, like I'm doing great. We get to the end of the interview, and he's like, yeah, man, thank you for like having the interview with me. I ask him a few questions, and like at the end of that, we get off the phone, and I'm like, there's no way I didn't get that interview. This is my 13th interview. It went the same way all the other interviews went. There's no way I didn't make this interview. There's no way I didn't land this job, right? So I go into work the next day, and everybody's asking me like, so have you heard anything about the interview? I'm like, yeah, yo, I had the interview yesterday. Oh, well, how'd it go? Man, there's no way I didn't get that. Man, there's no way I didn't get that job, man. Like everybody's like, oh, man, yeah, I knew you was gonna get it. I'm like, yeah, man, there's no way I didn't get this job, man. Like it went the same way as every other interview, you know what I mean? Plus, I'm me, you know what I mean? So this job is mine. Like it's just mine. Like it would take an act of God for me to not get this position. Son, it didn't take them 48 hours to let me know that I didn't get the job. And that's typically how long it takes. It takes anywhere between 2 to 5 days for them to respond. Man, they responded in a day and a half, and they was like, yeah, we're not looking for you. Feel free to go find another position anywhere else. And that really fucked me up, man. That really fucked me up, because like I've been at this job for 5 years, man. I've been in this job for 5 fucking years, and I've been working to move up for 4 of those years, right? I've been working to move up for 4 of those years, and at the end of it all, this is what I have. I've been a regular, a base, a bottom, associate, just at the bottom of the totem pole for this entire time, despite the fact that I'm way more than that. I'm way more than that. I deserve more than that. And yet, like, it just seems like no matter what I do, I just can't move up. I even had the position at one point. I was acting as assistant manager for 9 months. I ran that shit. And I ran that shit, especially when I first got there. I didn't have a manager. My manager, when I first got there, he didn't know shit, and then he got fired. And then the manager after that, he was there for a little while before he had a family emergency and had to go for a while. So the entire first half of the holiday season, I was by myself. I had help from the the manager and the assistant manager from upstairs, but this is why I had managers coming from other departments to come congratulate me, because for the first half of the holiday season, and this is the holiday season, shit is heavy. For the first half of the holiday season, I was running shit by myself. I had to gather information on my own. I had shit going wrong left and right, and had to, for the most part, figure that shit out by myself. Like I said, I had help from my the manager upstairs and the assistant manager upstairs. I had help from them from time to time, but for the most part, it was just me, because they had to run their department upstairs. It was me. It was, and then when my manager finally came, he was new to the whole company, so I had to teach him about how things went in the company in general. So not only am I gathering information from the associates that I'm working with, but I'm also in a sense training and giving information to the manager that I have, because he's so fresh into the company. I busted my ass. I do this shit. This is fucking me. so it just seems like it an obvious thing that I don't know, to feel entitled to something. It's just that's never. There's nothing that is granted to anybody, right? Like nothing is just a given. It wasn't just a given that I was gonna get this job, because I didn't. But at the same time, this is where I am in my life, where I was just so high off of everything that I've done, not because I'm full of myself, but because I deserve to be. You know what I mean? But because I busted my ass, but because I just come from a place where just in my head, where I just didn't deserve this. No, I deserve this. You know what I mean? I deserve that job. I deserve it, but I'm not entitled to it. And that's something that kind of, I guess, just really broke me, was the fact that I not just the fact that I didn't get it, but the fact that I let myself believe that I was owed that job. Like the company owes me this. When they don't really owe me shit. You know what I mean? Like they don't lose shit by not employing me. They still get their money. I'm the one who's not getting his money. I'm the one who's had my assistant manager pay taken away. Because of my own accord, by the way. Like, it was because, like, I asked to be pulled off of that list that prevented me from getting VTO, and for some reason that also just pulled me off of the whole thing in general. But like, now I'm not getting the promotion that I thought that was such a sure thing. Nothing in life is that sure. I acted like that shit was fate, and I don't believe in fate. I don't believe in what something's meant to happen unequivocally. Like there's nothing that could ever change it. I don't typically believe in that, but after that interview, I was like, that's it. Like, this has to happen. It has to happen, right? Like it's just something that's natural, and it wasn't. So yeah, that's where I am right now, man. I'm just and people like oh my god, everything that happened after that, like everybody asked me about have I heard from, like, if I actually got the job after that, after I told them about how well the interview went. I let them all know that, like, no, I didn't actually get the job. They told me no, and like so many people like care about me, like like the managers and stuff. And just to be clear, like, I have a lot, like, I know, like, a lot of people seem to, like, think that, because they're managers, they should be able to do something, like, like, they really don't give a fuck about you. Like, these people are people too, right? Like, the higher ups, I can see that. Like they don't know, like, the guy who I had the interview with, like, despite what I told him, like, he can only go off of what he knows, and like, he knows what's in the interview, right? I don't know what it was that made him say no. We've been asking, like, me and my manager have been contacting this dude for like the past week, and he hasn't responded. So we're still working on that, but, like, everybody's just trying to cheer me up, right? Like, my manager's like, he's like, yo, don't let this get you down. Like, I had to do this 4 times before I got the position. Sometimes it has nothing to do with your credentials. Sometimes it just has to do with the interviewer. Sometimes you just have the wrong person. It just comes down to that. I had to do it 4 times, having the same exact credentials before I got mine, because the first 3 interviewers were just not the right ones. And he's trying to boost me up. He's telling me, like, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. And, like, honestly, like as much as, like, I appreciate his help, like, that just made me feel worse, because in my eyes, if I didn't do anything wrong, if everything I've done is right, and I still didn't get it, then there's nothing else I can do. After 5 years, everything I've done was right. Every move I made within those 5 years is right, and I still didn't get it. There's nothing else I can do. According to him, I just keep trying, and eventually I'll get it. But like, I don't have time for that. I can't pay my my apartment bill this week. I have my car note that's due, and I don't have the money for that. I have like 2 letters from the IRS. One that says I owe 910. One that says that I owe 888, and both of those are legit. I don't have the money for that. My car is fucked up. There was a storm that fucked my shit up, and I need to get that shit fixed. I don't have the money for that. Everybody's sitting here, like, I appreciate everybody. You know, all of my associates, all of the managers, they're doing everything they can. Let me know, like, yo, don't give up. But like, all that don't give up shit, that doesn't pay my bills. You know. And I know in some part it's my fault because I wanted to take a break. I wanted to take a week off because everybody else is doing it. Why can't I do it? Like I know I took that week off and I didn't get paid for it, and that put me in the situation that I'm in now. I get that. I mean, part of me feels like that shouldn't have to be an issue. I should be able to take off, but I guess I shouldn't have taken it so quickly. Like I should have saved up first, but like it was just such a rare opportunity that I just took it as soon as I had and figured I'd be able to make up the money, which I would have if I kept my my assistant manager pay. I'd be able to make this up, but I don't have that. And now I'm not getting the other pay. This should have been my first week as that management level position, and it's just not. So yeah, that's where I am in life right now. I'm just really broken. Like to be honest, like this whole thing just like isn't funny to me, and like the whole just quit and find another job thing. Like I people who I have that in my head because like I've had people say that in the past about my job the job that I work at, and like people who say that shit, they're typically like the low IQ type people, like the really actually stupid people who they're probably the type of people that jump to conclusions without any evidence about anything. Like just simply quitting your job isn't realistic. Like I've been looking for a job outside of this company for it's like since March of this year and haven't found anything because everything is a huge pay cut, right? and so I don't want to hear that, right? I don't want to hear that, and I don't want to hear keep your head up because I'm going through it right fucking now. I have 2-3 days to pay my bill for my apartment, and if I can't pay that, I get kicked out. And even if I do pay that, I have my car note after that, which I don't have. I have my tags, my tags are expired, and I have to get that, but I have to get my car fixed up before that. I just don't have it, so I'm really not trying to hear keep your head up. So that's where I am right now. This is the video. This isn't something that I would normally post, but like I told Chosen that I would make this video, and I just really wanted to make this video just because like I just wanted to rant. I just wanted to make a video, and I wanted to rant. I wanted to complain about something, and this is it. I'm pretty sure I'll figure this out somehow. I'm really hoping that I don't have to ask my mom for money because like oh my god, I hate asking people for help, but at the same time like there's times where I just have to just ask for help. I don't know, man. But yeah, that's it. That's all. That's all I want to talk about. This went on a little long. It's 29 minutes, almost 30 minutes. To me, that's not a long time, but like for some people, it's whatever. But anyway, that's all. That's what's going on. To be honest, every time something like this happens, I typically look to my YouTube channel. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can start making money off of this because like I feel like I'm at a dead end in my life right now. Like I keep hitting setback after setback. First it was the whole thing with my projects like all getting deleted, and now this. I just feel like I'm stuck. I feel like my life has just been going nowhere, even though like I swore I was making progress. Like I actually had the assistant manager position, and now I'm back to square one. Like fuck. But yeah, this is where I am. And obviously I'm not going to give up, but at the same time, I don't want to hear don't give up. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear everything's going to be all right because it's not all right. It's not all right right now. Right now I'm stuck. Right now I'm fucked. Right now I'm suffocating. But I'm gonna keep the videos coming. I have a few more video ideas on the way. Honestly, I'm probably gonna start working on my Patreon page. I don't want anybody to do anything with my Patreon right now because like I have absolutely nothing to show for it. But just a heads up, like I'm probably gonna start working on my Patreon shit because I do need another source of income. So like that's just a heads up. I've had my Patreon for years and I never used it because like I said before, I don't like help. But I've had it because some of y'all remember Rashard used to ask me to make a Patreon page for such a long time because like he wanted to support, and like when I finally made it, like I literally finally made it, and then like he just wasn't able to use it. But like I'm gonna start working on that. So like if you wanna support, like I'd really appreciate it. But I'm gonna let you know when, because like not now. Like that shit is not fixed. I don't have nearly as much content to support that, but I will. All right. I'm gonna work on that. But in any case, if you listen to this whole thing, I really appreciate you like hearing out like the whole story. There's so much more to it, and there's other videos I'm gonna start making with gameplay. Just doing this commentary thing where I talk about like what goes on at my job, because like I've wanted to do this for a while, and this is just obviously what really just like broke the camel's back. Like this is just like fuck. I really want to talk about this, and I'll see you later.